grab your popcorn, rip that ticket, get in that seat, lickety-split, go watch a movie!
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Go watch the movie.
See? That is not fun to listen to. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Go Watch a Movie, episode 136. I'm Kelvin.
And I'm Robert.
Today we are doing Capone, starring Mr. Tom Hardy himself. That's going to be a fun one to get to. But before we get to that, a little bit of entertainment news. We are both Mad Max fans here. So Furiosa, there's been talk going around that she's going to get her own movie. Well, it's happening. She will be getting her own film, but it will be a prequel. So that kind of takes the wind out of my sails there. And he had been floating around de-aging Charlize Theron, but he has changed his mind on that and will be casting a new young Furiosa. What do you think, sir?
Not terribly excited about that now. Even though I am happy to see that, first that Mad Max is getting a spinoff. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. But to take out, the lead actress from before and then put in somebody else, I don't know about that. 'Cause I feel like she's already ingrained in my head as Furiosa now. That's to change that just kind of messes with me.
We're going to get into that talk a little bit more here later because we have some more news on that subject. What do you think about the prequel? Does that bother you if it was Charlize?
Yeah, I feel like we already know, since we already know what happens in the future of that prequel, then yeah, it kind of ruins it. But I guess it would still be an interesting enough story. But I would prefer not a prequel. I would prefer something in the future of what we. Yeah,
because she's still kind of an open book as far as what she does. Because we don't know that much about Furiosa, but
or they could do something that's in the future of what we already saw, but then do flashbacks of her in the past as a prequel like that. That would be okay, as long as the story still progresses forward.
Honestly, that right there. You just saw the prequel thing. That is how all prequels should be done. Just do another movie and have, a lot of it be flashbacks. That would be fine with prequels, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be down.
You can still get your story told and move forward at the same time. That's genius right there. But moving on.
Yep, you heard it here, folks. I'm a genius.
So, hashtag release the Snyder Cut. That's been going around for pretty much since after Justice League. Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out it will be released, my friend. Mm-hmm. HBO Max has confirmed that they are going to put out the Snyder Cut next year on the new HBO Max streaming service. Happy, sad, mad, glad. Is the hype? You think the hype's that's gonna live up to that?
I hope it lives up to the hype. I mean, I hope it's not a complete letdown. I mean, I'm a little bummed that it's just going to be on that streaming service and not available more widely at first. Maybe it will be after the fact, but outside of that, yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't mind seeing it.
It's a massive deal for them because a lot of people didn't think it existed. Some people, I guess, the fact that this is going to that streaming service, you know how many DC heads are going to sign up now just to get that? Because a lot of people felt that movie could have been better with some of because the ideas have been spilling out. He wants to be more Darkseid centric. Darkseid is actually in the Snyder Cut. Mm-hmm. The nightmare sequence is better explained, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I kind of, echo your sentiments. Kind of sucks that it will be exclusively on that. But I mean, a lot of other places have exclusive shows and, things like that. So I don't know. Anything you're looking forward to with the Snyder Cut? You just hope it's better? Or that's Robin.
I didn't think the other one was horrible, but yeah, just adding more. If they can make it better, then why not? I mean, if there's a better version, why didn't we see it to begin with?
That's the big question. You're just just asking and answering all the good questions today. Freaking genius over here.
I feel like I'm wearing robes and I'm just sitting on a mountaintop, just, looking off into the sky, answering questions, healing people. Good in robes, though. At least in my head.
Moving on here, which will also bring us into Let's Discuss the Showbiz. Ruby Rose steps away from Batwoman. So this came out of nowhere. This show has only had one season on the CW and was a big deal when she got signed. People were kind of excited, kind of upset. But they will be continuing with another season. Had you watched Batwoman?
I had watched some of it. I hadn't seen it all the way through, but I did catch the occasional episode.
So you're going to be the expert on this for me because I have watched nothing of it. Any good?
It's okay. It's not bad. I mean, it wasn't enough to grab me and make me want to watch every single episode, but I didn't have a problem with it. I don't know if she really fit. Like, I guess I probably had a notion of what she should have been like already in my head, but yeah. She wasn't bad though. And I mean, they did some good stuff in it. So I'm not going to hate on them.
Supposedly she was kind of appalled. This is all hearsay and coming out today. A source has been reporting this. So allegedly, she didn't really want to be there. She was kind of had an attitude allegedly on set, and they decided to mutually part ways. But she said she had fun and she's still grateful for the opportunity. I mean, she's gorgeous. I'm going to give her that. and I loved her in Orange is the New Black. And some of the other things I've seen. What do you think of her as an actress?
Yeah, she did a fine job. I think she's definitely good enough to do whatever role she wants to, but if her heart isn't into it, she's probably not going to give us the performance that we probably deserve to see from that character, especially if you're a fan of the character and you want it done right. You want it to be done by somebody who actually wants to be there, so maybe it's the right thing that she departs.
Yeah, agreed. And that's like, how do you not want to be in the Bat family? I would be Tim Drake getting beat with a crowbar if they offered it to me. Like, that's my only part. Just give
I'll just be one of the henchmen, just a random henchman that gets punched in the face. That's fine. I was there.
right there. See, pause it. That's Batman's fist hitting me in the jaw. But that also brings us, like I said, to Let's Discuss Showbiz. Season 2. At this point, do you just cancel it? Like, is it like, why go on with it? Because it's going to be very.
I'd say no, and this is why I say no, because there's a whole lot of people who are invested in the show, not just people who work, to make the show, but the actors and actresses who are hired for the show. So you just don't want to drop all those people just because of one person has, a change of mind on whether or not she wants to do it. You keep it alive the best you can. And maybe you only can do one more season, but at least that one more season, not only for the people who are working on that show and have been working hard, but also for the fans who probably actually like the show.
I like the way you think, and it's honorable, but let me run down the list of some shows that have replaced people.
Trust me, I know so. And it has ruined parts of that show.
Vivian Banks on The Fresh Prince, Becky Connor on Roseanne, Reggie Mantel on Riverdale, Carol Wilwick on Friends, one of the Foremans on That 70s Show, Harriet Winslow, which was an atrocity on Family Matters, and the list goes on and on, my friend. It could get bad.
It happens, and I don't, most of the time, especially in movies, I don't like it when they switch people. I'm still mad that they switched the lady from The Matrix, the Oracle, but...
Oracle, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It isn't the best decision, I wish, but sometimes people die, though, and there's nothing you can do. So you just you have to do the best you can. But I don't know. I think there's more positives that we could take from a change than just dropping the whole thing.
And the main thing is, like, do you do the approach like a lot of those did, where you just don't mention it?
I think they have to mention it. I think they should like kill her off or have somebody else take her place, like a friend or somebody else from the show just step in.
She's like a niece, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I think they should find, or the guy who was working with her was kind of her Alfred, but not really. Should find somebody else, and then they sort of carry it on that way. I think they should write it in properly. I don't think they should just flip it and then like not say anything. Because on some shows,
but I loved what Fresh Prince did. I don't know if you remember this. Jazz walks into the house, and he's just like, "Who is that?" Talking about the new Anthony. Will just kind of looks at the camera and is like, "Oh, she always been here, man. What are you talking?" You know, I do it.
Yeah, I've seen shows where they've done that, and they go like later on in the show, they make a joke about it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
that with Becky too, I think.
Yeah.
Something, but. Yeah, we'll see. Like, I think, like you said, the key here will be how they write her off, and hopefully they do that well.
And they could be, who knows? They could do it in a way that makes the show even better. The second season could be, after a bumpy start, could be even better than the first, and then they will actually be able to carry on.
Yeah,
and then you won't regret, continuing.
That is the hope. Before we get into trailers here, we have a few more people who wrote in with their favorite movies that we missed last week, which I love. I love doing these. Lucky Number Slevin, Nick over on Facebook did that one. I was a fan of that. I'm not sure if you were.
Yeah.
Annie for Kagan over on Instagram. Hello, lady. My sister actually commented. Hers surprised me. Rocky and Face Off.
Really, the first Rocky?
Yeah.
Wow.
She shocked the hell out of me. I don't know my sister at all.
I love Rocky. The first Rocky is great.
Yeah. So,
even though I won't ruin that part of it. But go ahead.
Oh no! What were you saying?
I was just gonna say I love the movie Rocky, but there is a scene in there that's a little wrong. The one that's a little Me Too-ish.
Oh yeah. I think we talked about that actually.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
But I do love that. I do love that first movie.
Yeah, it's very good. But yeah, thank you guys for just ruining a tender moment. Thank you guys for writing in with those. Keep that up. We love those favorite movies. Gets my mind going. I love watching new movies and things like that. So thank you guys for that. But that will bring us to trailers. You first or me, sir?
I'll jump in there. I haven't gone first in a good minute. Okay. So I'm like, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of war movies, but I did see this trailer and I got kind of interested. It's called The Five Bloods. The spelled D-A and then the number 5 and then Bloods.
Yeah.
The Five Bloods. Spike Lee joint coming on Netflix. I like what they did with it because they mixed. They made footage that looked older and then also combined it with footage that was actually real footage from the Vietnam War, and then footage that's like them being old people. So I like.
Noticed, sorry, jumping on your trailer, but if you noticed, the memories are all the old 16 millimeter looking footage, and it looks new with the
Yeah, that's what I one of the things I liked about it was just that mixing of the footages, and then yet making something that they tape now look like it is back then, and then it all just works together. And I like the idea of the story too, especially that there's these guys who were obviously in war, and then they found all this gold or money or whatever it was, and they decided to bury it and then come back so many years later to get it. That just sounds like a super interesting story. Like amongst all this craziness, this war that most people didn't want, or especially the people who were there didn't know what was going on. You know, in the middle of all that, there's an even deeper story of this, you know, crazy heist kind of, and then you know. So it just all works together, and it just makes me interested. And it is going to be, you know, readily available on Netflix, and it is Spike Lee. So, I mean, why not?
Mm-hmm. No reason not to watch that one.
The Five Bloods.
Yep, I enjoyed that trailer myself. Mine is actually, I'm going to go into what I discovered this one on first, and then I'll go into the trailer itself. Dust. It is a kind of, it's a streaming service, but they only show like sci-fi shorts and sci-fi movies. They have like over 400 of these freaking sci-fi shorts, and I've watched a couple of them, and I've like subscribed to them on Instagram, and I see their trailers and stuff. And it's some people like, it's some up and coming people, some people you've never heard of, some people who are established. And these people are very creative. Like they have, like these aren't like little just handheld camera little shorts. These people are making epic, like 5-minute or 20-minute or like some like sagas in these little sci-fi shorts, and it's fantastic. This one I saw was Redisplacement, and it's basically about this guy goes into it starts with him and like sitting across from someone kind of shrinkish. I'm not sure if she's a shrink or just trying to get information from him, but she's scanning his brain, and apparently he was involved in something they don't really hint at what, but they have to dig deep into his long-term memories. So they're gonna like kind of nullify short-term memories to make that more accessible. And I think I said that correctly, I haven't reversed, but apparently he was involved in something in these woods at some point, and he keeps like flashing, like he dives deep, like we get to join him in a journey into his memories as he tries to discover what exactly happened in these woods. He and them try to discover what exactly happened in these woods, because apparently it was pretty nefarious according to these this trailer here. But yeah, Redisplacement is the name of this one, and yeah, it looks fantastic. And check it out. And actually, it's out on Dust right now. Watchdust.com is where that's at, and it, like I said, you won't be disappointed if you're up on that site and you're a sci-fi fan. There's some epic little short films and long films on there as well. But yeah, Redisplacement. That's my trailer and unofficial ad for Dust. But yeah, that'll bring us to Capone. Watchbot, if you would not mind, and legible, please. We want to understand what you're saying.
Grumble, 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 grumble. Ha ha. JK. I was just pretending to be Capone anyway. Chronicling the final days of notorious gangster Al Capone as he succumbs to dementia and relives his past through tormenting memories.
Actually, before we jump into this, thank you, Watchbot, as well. Before we jump into this, Bane wanted to say a few words before we get into Capone. So, Bane, if you want to jump in there. And they said they couldn't understand me. What the actual fuck? I pronounced everything perfectly. You're probably wondering why you would shoot a man before throwing him from a plane. You understand every fucking word, Robert?
Yes, sir. Every word.
They even edited everything I said. The best. Thank you, Bane. That's, we understand. We get the point. So I'm going to start off on a similar note from Bane here. There were parts of this where he was completely ununderstandable. You couldn't understand a word he was saying. And I understand that neurosyphilis is a very dangerous thing, and especially if it goes undiagnosed as long as he did, as his did. But you want to understand what the dialogue that was written instead of yes. And then thank God he spoke some Italian, because that's when I could actually read subtitles. I was praying for that to happen. But yeah, that was my early takes on this. What did you think, sir?
I agree. No, okay. Well, I agree. You couldn't understand him. However, if it was true to how that actually is, I guess they probably should have done that, as opposed to, make it easier for us to understand. But not that I'm attempting to defend the movie, but I am going to think of nice things to say about it. And it was beautifully shot. I mean, there are some amazing visuals. It felt like a gangsterish movie, but it had what I would consider like the soul of like a horror movie.
One more fucking thing, Robert. I have a mask on. This motherfucker. Stop it, babe. Go away. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. It had strangely, like it felt like they almost wanted to make a horror movie but didn't, or they wanted to make a gangster movie but didn't. And I think they tried to combine them, and I don't think it worked the way it should have. And I also feel like the people who made this didn't really think kindly of Capone. Like it almost felt like this was like a karma movie, where it's like, this is what you did, and this is where you ended up. So we're just gonna like blatantly shove all of where you ended up into people's face to show you what happens karmatically.
Yeah. It felt like they wanted to show that this man should not be glorified, because a lot of people glorify Scarface.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking we were going to kind of get, was something that was sort of glorifying, but it wasn't. It was the exact opposite of what I thought they were going to do. And it was just like, I thought maybe we were going to get like a flashback here and there of him being his gangstery self, and then goes back to him, sitting in a chair, unable to, hold his bowels or something. But instead, they just flat out just give you all the gritty badness, and instead of any kind of, gangster life is great. They didn't do that. They just went, having this disease sucks. That's what it was. A sad movie.
This was almost a PSA to say, use condoms. You don't want syphilis.
Mm-hmm.
Which, goes without saying. You don't want syphilis. Use condoms. But
just use condoms anyway. It's a good idea.
Yeah. But wow, this train derailed quickly. But yeah, it was wow. Just talk about dragging a guy through the mud. And like you said, it was or his own poop. And whenever he started to get some semblance of his former self. What's that? What's that? Oh, well, let me go get you something.
Yeah, it didn't glorify anything in this one. They just gave it to you hard.
Oh, man. And I love, I think there's a big semblance of, how his entire front line is full of all these glorious statues and amazing scenic views and all that stuff, but he sits in the back staring at a swamp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good view. I would sit back there too.
Would you see people hiding in the bushes?
They would all look like me too, a little puppet.
But I don't know what they wanted to do with this. Like
I said, I felt like they should have just went full tilt and just go horror movie. They should have just made this just weird art house horror about Capone losing his mind, and because it had moments in it that were really engaging. There's almost a scene like that was in The Shining when he goes to the party. It kind of felt like you were watching The Shining a little bit, or like there's other scenes that where you kind of felt like you were watching Jacob's Ladder. There's just all these scenes that they could have used if they just would have pumped that up and just made it all about the mental illness and the madness and the difficulties that he was going through, instead of almost just almost embarrassing the image of Capone. I think they could. I think that's obviously what they wanted to do, but I just think it would have been a better film if they had done that. I think that would have been more of an enjoyable watch than what we got, because I didn't feel good after watching this. I felt kind of depressed and kind of bad, and was kind of like, like I hope I don't end up in that situation. I hope I don't.
That was like, because like that scene you're talking about where he's at the party, like it's like he was starting to feel like himself again, but it's like, nope.
And there were so many mysteries that I don't think they fit, like, told us, like, I don't know who the kid with the balloon is. I was trying to figure out who's the kid with the balloon. It's obvious who, when it was a younger him, in the mirror, that was obvious. But like the kid at the beginning, when it's just like sitting there on the ground staring at him, even though I don't even know if there were really kids there or not. I can't even tell now, because the guy, there were so many people that weren't there but were, and I guess that's probably what a person who's going through that is really thinking. He doesn't know what's real and what's not real.
Yeah, I don't think the kids were there. Maybe at one point, maybe that was a flashback, happier times, but they definitely were not, because it happened again too. Like that, they had another Thanksgiving, but he's, so.
But I did like the story of the wife having to put up with, once she's, married to a gangster or former gangster, and then it's still now having to take care of this guy who has all these problems. I do think I solved one mystery though, because it did become a movie about where did he hide the supposed $10 million. I'm pretty sure I know where that $10 million is. I don't think it's in the swamp. I think it's in the statue. No. In the statue, he didn't want anybody to touch.
Oh, that looked like a penis at first, and then when they turn it around, it actually turns out to be this big, glorious. Was that Caesar?
Oh, that was Alice or something. That was a woman, but it looked like Alice and a woman combined or something. I don't know what was going on, but I'm pretty sure that's where the money was at. So if anyone's got that statue, crack that thing open. There's money in that bitch.
Because I was thinking the swamp because of that last spoilers. I guess there's not a lot to spoil, but that last fever dream he had, and he's like, dig where the wet starts or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it even showed like kind of a crate thing floating at the edge of the swamp there, but maybe that was just fever dream right before he went. I didn't even know Capone got out. I thought he died in prison. So that in itself was an eye opener to me.
He was still kind of in his own little personal prison. So.
Oh yeah, he technically never got out.
And he basically took his family with him to prison because they were all stuck there while he was deteriorating too.
Yeah.
Like I said, sad movie. Nothing about this really. There was one funny scene, but outside of that, it's just depressing.
Do you think he that whole drive to the boat thing with his friend, like, how did that work? Since we know,
I don't think it happened. I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Okay.
He was dressed up like a woman.
Yeah, I did not understand that. I was like, what is happening?
I think he was pretending to be his wife so he could get out of the house, but if it even happened, so that the people who were watching outside his house were listening to him be mad for however long he was out of prison until he died, which had to have been a trip for those guys to have to sit there and they never saw a scene where they just look at each other and they're just like, what in the world are we doing? But they should have, because that's.
If they were actually listening to him and recording what he said, I want to hear those tapes. I want to know if, he really went as crazy as this movie depicted him. Because, they recorded all that stuff if they were actually doing that. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if the Capone tapes are real. Because holy cow, what a trip he went. Do you think that was a hallucination when he went to pee? After the whole Lion King or Wizard of Oz thing, singing the Lion song, do you think? And he saw the dude in there.
I don't think there would have been a dude in the shower just kind of hanging out. That seemed.
It looks like. I think what was happening was they cut the power so they could plant a new bug, and he actually caught one of the guys planting a new bug, but he was too out of it to realize it. That's what I think was going on in that scene, but it was hard to interpret because everything else is such a fantasy, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. One sec. Sorry.
This movie has made us go to bathroom humor.
Yeah. But it did. And I don't think they were doing it to be funny, but
that one scene was funny though. That's the only time that that was the lightness in the movie when he's being interviewed by the young guy. Oh, yeah. And there he just sits there and everybody covers their nose because they're like, it's so horrible. I don't know how even the woman did it like earlier in the movie because she got to cover it.
Miserable for his wife in that scene. Miserable. Like, can you imagine? You got to take care of this sad sap, and all of a sudden, just that happens, and it's everywhere. Like, and that was right after a scene where I thought we were gonna get some answers of something because he saw that little boy with the bullet holes all in him.
Yeah. It made no sense. A lot of this movie, but I mean, I know it doesn't need to be a good movie, but I just wish they had gone in a different direction, just gone all the way there instead of just, you know, like drizzling in a little bit of horror in these, you know, like gangsterish type movie.
Do you think this was just don't idolize this man? This is what he was. Like, do you think that?
I don't know.
that's all I can really see is like this. This is not a man to be held on a pedestal. The gangster life is not something to be idolized. Like, these people are horrible, horrible people. Like, that's all I can take from this. Cause especially with that one scene where one of his henchmen killed one of his own friends and he was like appalled, you know?
Yeah. I just get the whole karma message. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if that's what they intended, but it just seemed like karma was like the biggest.
It all comes back around in the end.
Yeah. And it takes everybody down around you as well. I mean, there's not just you. It's, you affect everybody around you. Because a lot of the people, didn't say at the end of the movie, like a lot of people like changed their name.
Yeah. His wife and his family came to change their names and because they couldn't find work, with that name tarnishing them. Mm-hmm. Do you have Rotten Tomatoes pulled up, good sir?
I do, and I gotta tell you, I wasn't really surprised by this. The tomato meter is a 41% splat, and the audience score is even lower. It's a 35%.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I was mad at Star Wars for putting out a book after the fact, explaining what you know things, but I kind of want to read a book after the fact and know what the fuck they were trying to do with this. Because I don't agree with the Rotten Tomato folks. You can avoid this one, in my opinion. It's beautiful, but at the same time, meh.
Beautifully shot. It had some good ideas, a couple good scenes that reminded me of other movies, mainly horror movies, that I think if they had focused on that, it would have been a better movie. But all in all, if I had to rate it, I'd say nay. Yeah. Not a good watch. Didn't make me feel good. I mean, the movie doesn't have to make you feel good, but I just did not feel, not only did I not feel good, but I didn't feel like I had a good time watching the movie. So it was like almost being in prison with Capone or being in his life at the end, experiencing this.
That I feel they wanted. Mm-hmm. I think they did a great job of that, making you also feel like you had this neurosyphilis disease, mm-hmm. because the whole time I was like, am I tripping?
It's almost like you were a member of his family and you're in the house.
Yes.
And because you saw all the really embarrassing stuff that you didn't want to see, you know? So you saw all this unflattering stuff. And it just made you feel not necessarily bad for the guy because you knew he was a gangster or whatever, but at the same time, you're like, this sucks for not only you, but your family too. So where's the enjoyment I'm supposed to, gather from watching this? I guess I wasn't supposed to get any. I was just supposed to feel it in. Like all the people around him did.
It is a beautifully done movie. I love the way they slowly decayed his face. That was very well done. Just to see his dishevelness that happened, but Yeah, I don't know. It's not for me. This one's not for me. Yeah. So where you can find us? I'm trying to get cheery again. You can find us at gowatchamovie.com, the one-stop shop for all things entertainment. The stories are there. The podcast is there, and everything else you want to know about entertainment news is on that site. That's a lie. Not everything, but I'm going to say it is. So take that with a grain of salt. But you can find a podcast anywhere. You can listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. You can find the YouTube on our YouTube channel, and that's Go Watch a Movie on youtube.com/YouTube. Go something like that. Just go watch a movie on YouTube. It will pop up. Thank you to all the likes, subscribes, and comments on all the social medias, because we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So thank you guys for that. But yeah, that's everything for this week. I'm Kelvin.
And I'm Robert.
Go watch a movie.
Grab your popcorn, rip that ticket, get in that seat, lickety split it. Go watch a movie.